Naruto had somehow returned to Konoha of 20 years ago. In the post-Hokage era, after the massive invasion of the Akatsuki clan, the entire ninja world had collapsed beyond recovery. Sasuke Uchiha fell in front of Naruto Uzumaki, sacrificing his life to protect him. Kawaki barely survived, his body pushed beyond its limits. At the moment of his death, Kawaki released Naruto, who had been sealed long ago inside Daikokuten. When Boruto saw Naruto again after so many years, it felt as if he was looking at the last hope of the Shinobi World. Using every last drop of his remaining chakra, he activated the full power of his Jogan, forcibly sending Naruto's soul back to a point somewhere in the past. Moments later, Boruto died from complete chakra exhaustion. When Naruto opened his eyes again, he found himself standing inside a dark, silent forest. In his hands was a scroll, the Scroll of Seals, Konoha's forbidden treasure. Ahead of him, in the open clearing, lay a wounded Iruka Umino, while Mizuki stood nearby, preparing to deliver the killing blow. Naruto's mind was completely blank, yet the overwhelming sense of reality told him clearly, this was not a dream. Boruto had paid with his life to send him back to the very night he had stolen the Scroll of Seals. Thinking of his son, Naruto broke down in tears. At that moment, Mizuki gripped his demonic shuriken and charged straight toward Iruka. In a split second, Naruto flashed in front of Iruka. With his left hand, he caught Mizuki's wrist mid-strike. With his right hand, a sphere of swirling blue chakra formed instantly. Rasengan. The attack slammed directly into Mizuki's chest. Iruka stood frozen, unable to speak, staring at the blue chakra sphere in disbelief. Far away, the third Hokage witnessed the scene through the crystal ball. Equally stunned, Naruto, using Minato Namikaze's Rasengan? Mizuki screamed in despair as his body spun violently through the air before crashing away. Morning sunlight poured down over Naruto's figure. Iruka stared at his back, deep in thought. Just yesterday, this boy had been the dead last of the class, and now he stood like a reliable, unshakable tree. Iruka didn't know what Naruto had gone through, but for some reason, he felt that Naruto truly could become Hokage one day. Just like before, he handed over his forehead protector and congratulated him on graduating. Even though Naruto had lived through this once already, the moment still moved him deeply. Thanks to his son, Boruto, he had been reborn, returned from that brutal future back to the very beginning. This time, he swore to become strong enough to defeat every enemy waiting in the future. This time, he would protect this world. After saying goodbye to Iruka, Naruto returned home alone. With a nervous breath, he placed his hand on his stomach. The 8-trigram seal appeared. Naruto entered the inner seal space. The Nine-Tails, sensing his presence, roared in rage and slammed its massive claw against the bars, aiming straight for Naruto's face. Naruto didn't dodge. Instead, he smiled warmly and greeted him. "Your eyes are just as fierce as ever, Kurama." Those words made the Nine-Tails' massive pupils shrink violently. He demanded to know how Naruto knew that name. Naruto didn't answer. He simply extended his right fist. "If you want the answer," he said calmly, "then let's bump fists." Kurama stared at him without moving. The entire seal space fell into dead silence. Moments later, thoughts, memories, entire scenes, all were exchanged through pure spiritual connection, fighting side by side in Barbarian mode, battles with multiple shadow clones, the world-shaking final war. After learning everything, Kurama looked at the boy before him with an unreadable expression. He couldn't believe that the Sage of Six Paths prophecy had actually come true. "So, I really sacrificed myself for a human," he muttered. Kurama asked whether Naruto had waited all those years for his revival. Naruto nodded. Unfortunately, he never lived to see Kurama return, but being able to meet a healthy Kurama again like this made him genuinely happy. Kurama snorted. "That was the future me who acknowledged you. I haven't acknowledged you yet." Naruto smiled and replied that he would work hard to earn the trust of the present Kurama. Man and beast stared at each other for a long moment. Then laughter echoed throughout the seal space. At the same time, atop Mount Myoboku, the great Toad Sage suddenly awoke. He instructed his attendants to summon Jiraiya immediately. He had an important announcement to make. The very first thing he did after being reborn was to reconcile with the Nine-Tails. After witnessing Naruto's future memories, man and beast quickly reached mutual understanding. However, at this moment, Naruto was still unable to open the iron gate of the Nine-Tails seal. That was because the key to the seal was currently in Jiraiya's possession. And according to the normal timeline, Naruto had not even met Jiraiya yet. He attempted to activate his chakra state under these limitations. But the Nine-Tails chakra leaking through the sealed gate was only enough to grant him a faint, partial chakra manifestation. Against future enemies, this level would be meaningless, but for the current stage of the world, the beginner phase of the Shinobi era, it was more than sufficient. The Akatsuki clan relied far more on taijutsu than anything else. This time, Naruto resolved to focus heavily on physical combat training. He never wanted to lose Kurama again because of Baryon mode. Sensing Naruto's anxiety, Kurama told him not to rush. Being able to learn about that clan in advance was already a strong start. Naruto nodded. As long as Kurama was with him, it felt like everything could still be changed. Since this was his second run through life, then he would speed run it. Just like before, when the teams were assigned, the class composition remained unchanged. Naruto glanced toward the corner of the room and saw Hinata Hyuga sitting there. He greeted her casually. Hinata shyly responded, lowering her head even further. Knowing his wife's timid personality all too well, Naruto couldn't help teasing her a little. Then he looked toward the boy sitting farther away, Sasuke Uchiha. Seeing both of them present again made Naruto sigh inwardly. Life really is good when everyone is still here. After team assignments, it was time for Kakashi Hatake's bell test. Kakashi had already learned from the third Hokage that Naruto had mastered the Rasengan, so his attention was especially focused on him. The test began. Sakura Haruno and Sasuke immediately concealed themselves. Only Naruto remained standing in the open, unmoving. To quickly establish authority in the Shinobi world this time around, Naruto chose not to hold back. He charged forward and engaged Kakashi head-on using taijutsu. Kakashi had no idea where Naruto had learned such refined hand-to-hand combat, but even so, Naruto still wasn't strong enough to truly injure him. After a brief exchange, Naruto was suddenly dragged underground by Earth-style headhunter jutsu, leaving only his head exposed above the surface. Naruto couldn't help but praise him. "Sensei, you really are strong." The next instant, he vanished in a cloud of white smoke. Kakashi froze. The Naruto he had just fought was merely a shadow clone. Hidden in the bushes, Sasuke clenched his fists tightly as he watched. Meanwhile, Naruto's real body appeared beside Sasuke and Sakura. With his current physical condition, taking the bells alone would be extremely difficult. This time, teamwork was essential. He quickly explained the plan. Sasuke hesitated, but reluctantly agreed in the end. Just then, Kakashi finally dispelled Naruto's last shadow clone. Low on stamina, his breathing became uneven. Suddenly, Sasuke burst out and hurled a Fuma Shuriken straight at him. Kakashi tilted his head and dodged it easily. Something like that posed no real threat to him. But bang! The Shuriken exploded into smoke. It had transformed into Naruto. At the same time, Naruto tossed a kunai into the air above Kakashi. Kakashi dodged again, but in that very moment, Naruto and Sasuke reached out simultaneously from both sides to grab the bells. Seeing danger, Kakashi leapt upward, only to realize too late that the kunai Naruto had thrown had transformed mid-air into Sakura Haruno. From above, Sakura slammed her fist down hard onto Kakashi's head. The scene mirrored almost perfectly the moment Kakashi had once been pinned before the sealing ritual. In the end, Kakashi lost the bells and collapsed to the ground with a satisfied smile. These three, they were without question the students he had been waiting for all along. At the same time, atop Mount Myoboku, the great Toad Sage suddenly awoke. In multiple prophetic dreams, he had seen that boy before, but now the future was beginning to diverge. Confused, Shima asked whether the prophecy had gone wrong. The great Toad Sage shook his head. He instructed her to summon Jiraiya immediately. It seemed the key might be needed earlier than originally planned. After passing the bell test, Naruto returned home. Soon after passing the bell test, he once again came to the Nine-Tails sealing space. Ever since his rebirth, even when there was nothing urgent, Naruto would still come here, leaning against the iron gate with his eyes closed, quietly resting. As long as Kurama was nearby, he felt an overwhelming sense of security. Though Kurama appeared impatient and irritable on the surface, deep down, warmth stirred within him. Across 1,000 years of existence, Naruto was the first person to truly dissolve his hatred. Just like in the previous timeline, Team 7 was soon assigned the Land of Waves mission, escorting Tazuna. Naruto couldn't help recalling Zabuza Momochi and Haku. Those two had been crucial mentors in his path of growth. This time, he would make up for the regrets of his past life. He would let them live. While traveling, thick fog suddenly rolled in. Sensing something was off, Naruto quietly activated Sage Mode to scan the surroundings. As expected, it was Zabuza. However, Naruto chose not to alert the others. He wanted Sasuke Uchiha to gain real combat experience. Kakashi Hatake also detected the enemy. Just like before, the two clashed and formed 44 hand seals in rapid succession. The duel ended the same way. Kakashi was trapped inside water prison jutsu. Zabuza's water clone then charged toward Naruto and the others. Naruto immediately created dozens of shadow clones, holding off the clone while ordering Sasuke to attack Zabuza's main body. But Sasuke was no match for him. Zabuza grabbed him by the throat and flung him away. Naruto instantly caught Sasuke midair. At the same time, he forcibly guided Sasuke's fingers into hand seals. Sasuke froze in confusion for a brief moment. Then a confident smile appeared on his face. The next second, fire style, dragon flame, jutsu erupted. Naruto continuously poured chakra into the technique through their linked seals. For him, chakra was limitless. A scorching wave, like a sea of flames, surged forward. Sensing danger, Zabuza immediately released the hand-maintaining water prison jutsu. Kakashi finally broke free. He stared at Naruto in shock. That boy actually knew the Uchiha method of manipulating another person's chakra flow. After using fire style at full power for the first time, Sasuke finally showed Naruto a look of genuine approval. Moments later, Kakashi finished Zabuza with water style, water dragon jutsu. Just like before, Haku appeared and took Zabuza away. Kakashi signaled the team to continue forward, but the next second, he collapsed due to chakra exhaustion. Naruto quickly caught him and transferred chakra into his body. Back during the Fourth Great Ninja War, Naruto had already memorized the structure of Kakashi's chakra network. Kakashi instantly recovered to full strength. He looked at Naruto, countless thoughts flooding his mind. No matter how he looked at him, Naruto didn't resemble a newly graduated genin at all. Sasuke and Sakura Haruno felt the same way. Ever since teaming up with Naruto, the so-called dead last from the academy had become exceptionally reliable. Naruto didn't explain much. It was still too early. Under Naruto's quiet guidance, Sasuke quickly mastered tree walking and water walking. Soon, the team faced Zabuza once again. This battle was Naruto's attempt at redeeming both Zabuza and Haku. After letting Sasuke and Haku exchange blows and gain experience, Naruto created thousands of shadow clones. Then, he unleashed 5,000 barrage against demonic mirroring ice crystals. The battle ended swiftly. Naruto pretended to kill Haku and then verbally broke down Zabuza. At last, Zabuza revealed his true feelings toward Haku. When Haku woke up and learned the truth, he was deeply moved. After helping the villagers defeat Gato, the two chose to settle down in the land of waves. The Great Naruto Bridge was successfully completed. After bidding farewell, Naruto left satisfied and began the journey back to Konoha. Upon returning, Kakashi reported the entire mission to the third Hokage. After learning of Naruto's strength, the Hokage felt both joy and concern. He couldn't help worrying about Naruto's stance towards the village. Seeing this, Kakashi spoke up. Even though Naruto had grown up surrounded by darkness, he still shone like the sun, warm and reassuring. The third Hokage smiled. Next came the Chunin exams. On the way, Naruto encountered Gaara of the Sand, who had come to participate. Seeing his old friend again, Naruto excitedly wrapped an arm around his shoulders, only to forget one thing. At this point in time, Gaara was still the cold, bloodthirsty Gaara of the Sand. Kankuro and Temari were stunned by the scene. They couldn't believe that Gaara's sand defense hadn't even had time to react to Naruto's touch. The instant Naruto made contact with Gaara, he was pulled directly into Shukaku's mental space. Inside the sealed domain, Shukaku the One-Tail glared viciously at the intruder. This realm could only be entered by Jinchuriki, who had reached spiritual resonance with their tailed beast. After a brief exchange of bickering and old grudges between Kurama and Shukaku, the One-Tail demanded to know their purpose. Naruto was honest. He wanted Shukaku's chakra. From his memories of the previous timeline, Naruto knew that collecting the chakra of all nine-tailed beasts was the key to awakening Six Paths Sage Mode. Shukaku rejected him outright. Seeing this, Kurama reminded him of the Sage of Six Paths prophecy, that Naruto was the boy who would close his eyes, spoken of in the prediction. Shukaku didn't believe it, but curiosity got the better of him. He extended his fist. "Let's see your heart." The moment their fists met, all of Naruto's memories from his previous life flooded into Shukaku's mind. For a long time, Shukaku remained silent. He knew it was all real. The chakra of the Sage of Six Paths was something he knew far too well. In the end, he agreed to transfer a portion of his chakra to Naruto. When Shukaku saw memories of Gaara risking his life to save Naruto during the Fourth Great Ninja War, he couldn't help but chuckle. For the first time, he began to envy the bond between Naruto and Kurama. The scene returned to the real world. Gaara clutched his head and dropped to the ground in pain. Temari rushed to support him, pulling him back several steps. Kankuro shouted, demanding to know what Naruto had done to Gaara, but Gaara stopped him cold. "Be quiet. Don't embarrass the village." Before leaving, Gaara lifted his head and looked at Naruto one more time. During the Chunin exams, with help from Kabuto Yakushi, Naruto passed the written test effortlessly. In the Forest of Death, Team 7 once again encountered Orochimaru. Naruto knew Orochimaru's true goal: to place the cursed seal of heaven on Sasuke Uchiha. This time, he would not allow it. He warned Sakura Haruno and Sasuke to be careful. The one in front of us is stronger than the third Hokage. Hearing this, both of them were gripped by fear. Suddenly, wind-style attacks surged toward them. Naruto had already prepared. He formed seals rapidly and erected dozens of earth-style, earth wall, to block the assault. Orochimaru's tongue flicked out excitedly. How fascinating. He summoned a massive snake to strike downward. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and Sakura and leapt backward. Then he slammed his hands together. Earth-style, underworld grasp. Gigantic earthen claws erupted from the ground, trapping the snake instantly. Seeing Naruto's half-awakened chakra state, Orochimaru struggled to suppress his excitement. So it's the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. How interesting. He dropped low and unleashed summoning 10,000 snakes formation. Countless serpents poured from his mouth, swarming toward the team. Naruto immediately signaled Sasuke. Fire style! Naruto himself used wind style. With wind enhancing the flames, a massive inferno swept forward, obliterating every snake in its path. Orochimaru was genuinely surprised. A genin capable of combined ninjutsu, the power of a Jinchuriki, and an Uchiha. Perfect! Suddenly, his neck stretched unnaturally. Two sharp fangs sank straight into Naruto's neck. He intended to bind Naruto's body with the cursed seal. Naruto closed his eyes and entered Sage Mode meditation. Orochimaru screamed in pain. Naruto had forced natural energy to flow backward through their connection and into Orochimaru's body. Unable to endure it, Orochimaru was forced to abandon the host body entirely. The violent disturbance caught the attention of the proctors outside the forest. Anko Mitarashi suddenly clutched her neck as her curse mark flared with pain. A deep sense of dread rose within her. She immediately ordered Might Guy and Kakashi Hatake to accompany her into the forest. At that moment, Orochimaru bit his thumb, summoning jutsu. Through thick smoke, the massive form of Manda emerged. Naruto's expression turned serious. He hadn't signed a summoning contract yet. Dealing with Manda under these conditions would not be easy. Manda's attitude was openly arrogant. He scolded Orochimaru, mocking him for summoning him over such a trivial matter. Orochimaru responded with a sinister smile. This opponent isn't an ordinary Genin. Naruto immediately signaled Kurama to give him more chakra. Kurama had already prepared for this. He transferred all the chakra he had just gathered to Naruto. However, due to Minato Namikaze's seal being far too strong, the amount he could provide was limited. Even so, it was more than enough to deal with this stubborn snake. Naruto told Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno to retreat. Next, he would go all out. Seeing the firmness in Naruto's eyes, Sasuke finally calmed down, suppressing his fear. He retreated with Sakura, silently wondering just how strong Naruto had become. Manda's massive body lunged downward toward Naruto. In the same instant, Naruto leapt into the air and rapidly formed hand seals. He created thousands of shadow clones. Each clone condensed a massive sphere of chakra, Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. Under the relentless bombardment of senjutsu-enhanced attacks, Manda's enormous body was completely shattered. In the end, he collapsed to the ground, unable to move. Seeing this, Kurama burst out laughing. Images from the past, when he and Naruto had once struggled against each other over chakra control, flashed through his mind. Manda roared in helpless rage before finally disappearing. "Sasuke, did you see that?" Sakura shouted excitedly. "Nice one, Naruto." Sasuke, however, clenched his teeth. That former dead last, his strength was downright terrifying. Naruto released the partial Sage Mode, breathing heavily. That single attack had nearly drained all the chakra Kurama had given him. Suddenly, Orochimaru's voice echoed through the air. "Don't forget, I'm still here." A long sword shot up from the ground, pressing directly against Naruto's chest, extending hundreds of meters forward. Naruto was pushed all the way to the edge of the arena. He dug his feet into the ground, bracing himself against the blade. Orochimaru tried to push further, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't pierce Naruto's skin. When he noticed the Sage Mode markings around Naruto's eyes, his expression changed. They reminded him of an old friend from the past. Naruto let out a relieved smile. Luckily, he had left a shadow clone at home earlier to gather natural energy. At the critical moment, he had dispelled it and instantly activated Sage Mode. Grabbing the sword, Naruto flung it violently to the side. Sensing danger, Orochimaru was forced to use body replacement technique once again. After crawling out of a new body through his mouth, he collapsed weakly on the ground. At that moment, Sasuke formed a blade of lightning in his hand, Chidori, copied from Kakashi Hatake using his Sharingan. He charged straight at Orochimaru, but just as he closed in, Orochimaru's neck suddenly extended. His fangs sank into Sasuke's neck. Cursed seal of heaven! Sasuke screamed in agony as his chakra went completely out of control. The Chidori instantly dissipated. Naruto let out a helpless sigh. In the end, he still failed to stop Orochimaru from placing the curse mark on Sasuke. He couldn't help but admit it. Even at the first stage, Orochimaru was terrifyingly strong. At last, the Jonin arrived. Everyone froze the moment they saw Orochimaru. Seeing that his objective had been achieved, Orochimaru gave Anko Mitarashi a twisted smile and sank into the ground, disappearing. Sakura rushed over, crying as she held the unconscious Sasuke. The others were stunned. They couldn't believe that a group of Danin had fought Orochimaru on this scale, especially when they saw Manda's massive corpse. Naruto walked over and greeted Kakashi. Kakashi had originally planned to withdraw them from the exam, but after seeing Naruto, he abandoned that idea. Naruto reassured Sakura. Sasuke was only unconscious. As for the curse mark on his neck, it wasn't entirely a bad thing. Watching Naruto's calm and composed demeanor, Kakashi fell into deep thought. For a brief moment, he thought he saw the shadow of Minato Namikaze. From afar, the third Hokage had witnessed the entire battle through the crystal ball. Orochimaru's return to the village could only mean one thing. A conspiracy was underway. He immediately ordered the ANBU to strengthen security throughout the village to ensure the safety of the Kazekage, who would soon arrive. Not long after driving away Orochimaru, the three of them quickly cleared the second stage of the Chunin exams. What followed was the preliminary round of the third stage. The first match was Neji Hyuga versus Hinata. Naruto noticed that this matchup was different from what he remembered and scratched his head in confusion. History had changed without warning. Still, that wasn't a bad thing. At least it meant his wife, Hinata Hyuga, wouldn't get brutally beaten this time. The outcome of the first match was exactly as expected. Neji won without any suspense. But when the second matchup was announced, Naruto Uzumaki versus Hinata Hyuga, he nearly fell over in shock. The butterfly effect was far bigger than he imagined. He walked into the arena feeling conflicted. Hinata had never once imagined she would have to fight the person she admired most. Her face turned bright red, and she didn't know what to do. Seeing her hesitation, Neji stepped forward with sharp mockery, sneering that the main family's eldest daughter clearly wasn't fit to be a ninja. Naruto looked at him with complicated emotions. He had always held Neji in high regard. In a previous life, it was Neji who had given everything to save him. But this version, before being humbled by fate, was merciless with his words. Sensing Hinata's wavering resolve, Naruto shouted for her to come down and fight him properly. This time, he promised not to use shadow clone techniques. Hearing his voice, she finally gathered her courage. She took a fighting stance and respectfully asked for his guidance. During the battle, Naruto continued to express his feelings, pushing her forward and guiding her past her limits until she finally unleashed the 8 trigram 64 palms. In the end, he won the match, and won her heart as well. After the preliminaries concluded, Kakashi Hatake used the evil sealing method to suppress the curse mark on Sasuke Uchiha. Activating Sage Mode, Naruto quietly sensed his surroundings and quickly confirmed what he already suspected. Orochimaru was hiding behind a pillar, just like before. The snake ninja couldn't help but marvel at Naruto's sharp perception, and even praised Kakashi for mastering such a sealing technique. Still, none of it mattered. Sasuke would eventually seek him out on his own in pursuit of power. With that, he vanished into the wind. Next came the 1-month break before the final selection matches. Naruto could barely contain his excitement. His master, Jiraiya, was finally about to appear. He waited outside the bathhouse for days. When Jiraiya finally arrived to gather research material, Naruto rushed forward without hesitation and wrapped him in a tight hug. Even someone as worldly as Jiraiya had never seen a stranger sprint at him with arms wide open. Overwhelmed with emotion, Naruto clung to him, pressing his head against Jiraiya's solid chest, trembling as if everything he'd been holding back was about to burst. Jiraiya stood frozen, completely stunned, wondering what on earth was wrong with this kid. He bluntly asked when they had ever met. Naruto wiped away his tears and said it had been a long time ago. In the days when Jiraiya wasn't around, he had endured countless hardships. There were moments when he thought he couldn't go on, but Iruka Umino told him that Jiraiya was always watching over him. With the support of his friends, he pushed through and finally achieved his dream. Then everything collapsed again after a disaster that came out of nowhere. He was exhausted, and he missed him more than anything. Naruto poured his heart out non-stop. Though none of it made sense to him, Jiraiya listened quietly, never interrupting. Only when the words faded into steady breathing did he realize the boy had fallen asleep. Even if Naruto had mistaken him for someone else, Jiraiya accepted that heartfelt longing. Whoever this child truly meant it for, if they knew how deeply they were needed, they would surely be happy. He gently laid Naruto down, carefully opened his upper clothing, and infused chakra into him. The seal of the Nine Tails emerged. Seeing Minato Namikaze's 8 trigram seal protecting the child, memories of Minato's gentle smile resurfaced. Suddenly, the scene before him shifted. As his chakra interacted with the seal, the Nine Tails, Kurama forcefully pulled his consciousness into the inner mindscape. A massive fox loomed before him, and even someone as powerful as Jiraiya instinctively took several steps back. Kurama had already seen Naruto's memories. Naturally, he understood how important Jiraiya was to him. That was precisely why he brought Jiraiya here, to help him truly understand Naruto as quickly as possible. After a brief exchange, Kurama asked Jiraiya to properly guide and stay by Naruto's side. Deeply moved, Jiraiya couldn't help but sigh. He never imagined that the Nine Tails, feared by everyone, would plead on behalf of a single child. Kurama snorted dismissively. Naruto was no ordinary child. "Do you see the water beneath your feet?" Kurama said. "That's made of the tears he's shed since childhood. This dark, damp place reflects how the world has looked at him. Everything you feel here is a mirror of his heart. Only after you appeared did warmth begin to exist in this space." "Even so," Kurama continued, "he used a heart like the sun to move me, an old beast like myself, and even warm the entire world. He has already surpassed Hashirama Senju." Hearing this, Jiraiya felt his scalp go numb. He couldn't believe a tailed beast could hold such regard for a human. Could Naruto truly be the child of prophecy spoken of by the great Toad Sage? The weight on his shoulders suddenly felt heavier than ever. He reassured Kurama that he would properly guide Naruto from now on, then withdrew from the mindscape. At that moment, the sleeping Naruto slowly woke up. Seeing his master still by his side, he was deeply moved. Looking into Naruto's eyes, weathered yet unwavering, Jiraiya made the same decision as before and accepted him as his student. The first thing he planned to teach was summoning jutsu. Naruto moved with ease, signing the contract with Mount Myoboku on the scroll. Just as Jiraiya was about to explain the hand seals, Naruto slammed his palm onto the ground. As the white smoke from the summoning technique cleared, the figure that appeared was none other than the great Toad Sage himself. Jiraiya's jaw dropped. He immediately fell to his knees in reverence. Upon hearing that Naruto had summoned him, the sage revealed a faint smile and asked Jiraiya to step aside. Then he spoke directly. "You returned through that eye, didn't you?" Naruto froze instantly, his pupils contracting. He hadn't expected everything to already be seen through, but it made sense. The great Toad Sage possessed the ability to glimpse the future. Changes to fate could never escape his notice. Because Naruto had returned from the future and altered history, the future of this world would also change. The invasion of the Otsutsuki might come earlier or later than before. Naruto broke into a cold sweat. In his previous life, that invasion was still more than 10 years away. If they descended upon the Shinobi World early this time, it would be disastrous. This was the price of interfering with time. Risk and opportunity intertwined. The great Toad Sage then spoke of a recent dream. A boy who returned from the future would either lead the Shinobi World into unprecedented prosperity or complete destruction. Naruto instantly understood the burden he now carried. From this moment on, he had to grow stronger, without wasting a single second. After bidding farewell to the sage, Naruto called Jiraiya back and asked him for the key to the gate sealing the Nine Tails. Without hesitation, Jiraiya summoned Gerotora. By now, he understood that Naruto and Kurama shared a bond far beyond the ordinary. Although he didn't know why Naruto seemed to understand everything already, he trusted that the truth would be explained in time. Jiraiya then summoned Fukasaku and entered Sage Mode, preparing to prevent Kurama's negative emotions from overwhelming Naruto once the seal was loosened. It was the first time Naruto had seen his master in this form. He couldn't help but exclaim how incredible it looked. Sitting cross-legged, Naruto entered the space of the seal. Kurama urged him impatiently. He had long grown tired of this cage, but just as Naruto reached out to tear off the sealing tag, a flash of yellow light suddenly stopped him. Naruto smiled in relief. His father, Minato Namikaze, had arrived. Naruto said, "Long time no see, Dad." Those words left Minato Namikaze completely stunned. He never expected this boy to know who he was. Behind them, the Nine Tails grew impatient and urged them to catch up later and release him first. Seeing the beast, Minato Namikaze was about to shift the space, but Naruto stopped him and asked him to wait. He wanted to free Kurama first. Hearing the name Kurama, Minato Namikaze looked at the Nine Tails in surprise. So that was his name. When he noticed the key-shaped seal mark on Naruto's arm, he finally relaxed. It seemed Jiraiya had also approved of opening the seal. As the lock slowly turned, the seal began to break. The Nine Tails burst out of the cage with a thunderous roar, filled with excitement. Standing behind him, Naruto formed half of a chakra projection. Kurama allowed it to touch him, and even encouraged him to draw more chakra from his will. Watching this scene, Minato Namikaze was completely speechless. He couldn't believe that the once ferocious Ninetales now behaved like an obedient husky. This child's growth had far exceeded his expectations. There was so much he wanted to ask. As time passed, Kurama silently watched his chakra being steadily drained away. Suddenly, dozens of thick chakra chains wrapped tightly around him. Kushina Uzumaki emerged from within Naruto, sternly ordering the Ninetales to behave. With a relieved smile, Naruto said, "Mom's here." Weak and helpless, Kurama let out an angry roar. Couldn't this woman read the situation? He was already exhausted, and now she had him completely bound. Minato Namikaze immediately bowed his head apologetically toward the Ninetales, but Naruto praised his mother, saying she was amazing for subduing Kurama so easily. Hearing that, Kushina Uzumaki turned around. She laughed in surprise that he recognized her instantly, truly worthy of being her and Minato's son. When she noticed Minato Namikaze standing beside him, she forgot all about the chains, rushed over, and hugged him tightly, jumping with joy. After many years, the family of three finally shared a brief reunion. Watching the scene, Kurama was completely at a loss for words. Soon after, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki learned the truth. Together, they apologized to the still angry Ninetales. Pouting arrogantly, Kurama snapped back that they never understood the situation, neither 12 years ago during the Ninetales incident, nor now. Left with no choice, Naruto stepped in to smooth things over. He reassured him that his parents were only acting out of concern for him. Not long after their reunion, Naruto noticed both of them beginning to glow. It meant they were about to fade away. Minato Namikaze urged Kushina Uzumaki to quickly say whatever she wanted to say. Panicking, she pulled him into a tight embrace, tears streaming down her face as she repeated the words she once spoke before her death, and apologized for turning him into a Jinchuriki. With moist eyes, Naruto told her there was no need to apologize. Becoming a Jinchuriki wasn't a misfortune. Before that ever happened, his body had already been filled with his parents' love. That was why he had always been happy. Deeply moved, Minato Namikaze praised him for growing into such an outstanding young man. But he and Kushina Uzumaki no longer belonged to this world. It was time to say goodbye. Trying his best to look energetic and strong, Naruto reassured them that he wouldn't be lonely. He had Kurama and many companions by his side. The moment he finished speaking, he broke down in tears, unable to even open his eyes as his parents' forms slowly faded away. No matter how great his achievements were, in front of them, he was still just a child who could only cry. As their spiritual forms floated upward, Kurama suddenly spoke. "Aren't you forgetting something?" He pulled the nearly vanished couple into the chakra sphere Naruto had gathered earlier. The fading figures suddenly became clear again. Seeing this, Naruto and Kushina Uzumaki gasped in shock. With a dismissive snort, Kurama said that they were, after all, his former Jinchuriki. Disappearing just because they ran out of chakra would be far too embarrassing. "If you sealed me inside your son," he added, "then the two of you might as well stay and keep me company." Bathed in the warmth of Kurama's chakra, their once fading forms unexpectedly solidified again. Startled, Naruto quickly pushed aside the sorrow of parting and excitedly praised the Ninetales for pulling off something like this. With a dismissive snort, Kurama replied that he was, after all, a being made entirely of chakra. Simply sharing chakra with others was easy for him. He hadn't originally planned to do this, but seeing Naruto's reluctance to part stirred memories of the moment in another lifetime when they had said goodbye after Baryon mode. Though this form was only a manifestation created by chakra, for a mother, being able to stay by her child's side in this way was more than enough. Overwhelmed with emotion, Kushina Uzumaki broke down in tears. She and Minato Namikaze held Naruto tightly, repeatedly thanking Kurama. Feigning annoyance, the Ninetales told them not to celebrate too early. From now on, they would stay here and live shamelessly, helping Naruto. Then he glanced at him and said that the chakra tug-of-war was finally complete. It was time to let everyone witness their true power. With a sharp breath, Naruto's complete chakra mode burst forth in a brilliant display. 4 years earlier than in his previous life, he had already become a perfect Jinchuriki. The scene shifted back to the real world. When Jiraiya saw this form, he was stunned. It surpassed anything he had ever witnessed. At the same time, inside Ichiraku Ramen, Tochi suddenly grew serious while stirring his broth. Staring into the boiling pot, he muttered that it felt like he had forgotten to add salt. The moment Naruto's chakra mode appeared, every ninja within the leaf's barrier sensed it. Those with sharper perception immediately went on high alert and urgently summoned Hiruzen Sarutobi, hurriedly reporting the situation. On the village's western side, near the waterfall, an enormous chakra presence, like a miniature sun, had appeared. Its source was none other than the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto Uzumaki. Judging by the situation, it appeared the seal had been released. Hearing this, Hiruzen Sarutobi swiftly removed his Hokage robes, revealing his battle gear, and ordered all ANBU units to mobilize. The village moved at full speed to prevent a repeat of the tragedy from 12 years ago. Inside his heart, regret and guilt surged. He swore that even if it cost him his life, he would bring Naruto back safely. Sensing a large number of ninjas rapidly approaching, Naruto barely had time to react. Moments later, Hiruzen Sarutobi arrived at the scene at full speed. Seeing Naruto's transformed appearance, his heart sank. In despair, he summoned Enma, transforming him into the adamantine staff and pressing it straight against him. Naruto had just opened his mouth to greet him, only to be launched out of the ruins by the extending staff. Jiraiya was just as stunned by the sudden turn of events. He quickly explained that Naruto was in a perfect Jinchuriki state, not a berserk rampage. After hearing this, Hiruzen Sarutobi froze in embarrassment and immediately ordered his men to retrieve Naruto. Then Jiraiya sternly instructed everyone present not to spread any information about this incident, even if Danzo or the village elders questioned it. Hiruzen Sarutobi silently agreed. The crowd soon dispersed. After Naruto returned, Jiraiya apologized to him on Hiruzen's behalf and offered to teach him a not-so-difficult technique as compensation. A sense of dread crept over him. Don't tell me, Rasengan. Unfortunately, his suspicion was correct. Dejected, Naruto began wondering whether he should finally tell Jiraiya the truth. In his previous life, Sasuke Uchiha had once mentioned that Jiraiya had already seen through the fact that he and Boruto came from the future. With his master's insight, the secret likely wouldn't last much longer. Noticing his hesitation, Jiraiya simply smiled and told him not to rush. He could speak when he was ready. To celebrate Naruto becoming a perfect Jinchuriki, he treated him to a huge meal. That same night, with Naruto's help, Hayate Gecko, who was supposed to be killed by Baki, was successfully saved. As the final day of the Chunin exams drew closer, the Leaf Village welcomed the final round of the Chunin exams. This time, Naruto's opponent was once again Neji Hyuga. He used a single shadow clone to recreate a battle similar to the one from his previous life. His true goal, however, wasn't victory. It was to use his words to help Neji break free from the chains of fate. In his past life, as Hokage, Naruto's ability to inspire others and guide the next generation had reached an entirely new level. Once the performance was complete, one decisive punch settled the match. Neji Hyuga finally let go of the hatred buried deep in his heart. Nearby, Genma Shiranui silently narrowed his eyes. He knew the truth. The one who defeated that so-called genius had been nothing more than a shadow clone. From above, Hiruzen Sarutobi overlooked the entire arena. Watching the match, he couldn't help but reflect that Naruto possessed far more than just raw power. But Naruto knew the truth. Standing beside the third Hokage, the Kazekage was actually Orochimaru in disguise, and the invasion was about to begin. He positioned himself neither too close nor too far from Hiruzen Sarutobi, calmly waiting for the plan to unfold. On the battlefield, Sasuke Uchiha pierced Gaara's absolute defense with Chidori. The Shukaku's power inside Gaara began to spiral out of control. That moment marked the beginning of the Konoha crush. Hidden Sand and Sound Shinobi launched their assault on the Leaf. Amid the chaos and smoke, Orochimaru pressed a kunai against Hiruzen Sarutobi's neck and ordered his subordinates to activate the 4 Violet Flames formation, sealing the 2 of them inside. Filled with sorrow, the third Hokage realized that his most beloved student had truly chosen this path. From afar, Naruto had already spotted the barrier at its highest point. Inside, Orochimaru was forming hand signs. There was no doubt he was about to use Edo Tensei. As 3 coffins erupted from the ground, Hiruzen Sarutobi tried desperately to stop the third one, but failed. When the lids opened, 2 legendary figures from the Warring States era emerged, along with a third, a shinobi, whose soul should never have been summoned. In an instant, the barrier transformed into a primeval forest. Facing Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju at the same time, the third Hokage could only retreat while defending himself. Suddenly, a chakra cloak enveloped the resurrected shinobi, who rushed forward at terrifying speed and severed Hiruzen Sarutobi's arm. Enduring the pain, the third Hokage blasted him away with fire release. Seeing this, Orochimaru immediately ordered Tobirama Senju to unleash water-severing wave. Just as Hiruzen Sarutobi was about to be cut in half, Naruto appeared in a near instantaneous flash and saved him. Looking up, the third Hokage clutched his severed arm and shouted for Naruto to leave immediately. Calmly, Naruto told him not to worry. From here on, he would handle everything. Orochimaru licked his lips, eager to see how much Naruto and Sasuke Uchiha had truly grown. The reanimated Jinchuriki lunged forward. In response, Naruto manifested a massive chakra hand behind him and caught the attacker with pinpoint precision. He called out to Shukaku within his spiritual space, borrowing his power. In the next instant, a magnet release Rasengan formed in his palm. When the reanimated Jinchuriki was struck, his body froze in place. The dark red chakra slowly faded, revealing the familiar face of Rin. Looking at Naruto, he offered a faint smile and quietly thanked him before his soul finally returned to the Pure Land. Cold sweat nearly ran down Naruto's back. Even Orochimaru had dared to summon that soul as well. Clearly, he had never experienced the full weight of Obito Uchiha's wrath. At that moment, Hashirama Senju's wood release surged toward Naruto, while Tobirama Senju created multiple shadow clones and launched water-severing wave from every direction. With a grin, Naruto praised the second Hokage for mastering shadow clones so well. Though the first and second Hokage were incredibly powerful, their Edo Tensei forms were far too imperfect. Against Naruto, they stood no chance. Seizing an opening, he unleashed a spiraling absorption Rasengan. Using his chakra hand, he slammed Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju directly into the massive Rasengan overhead. Once again, a magnet release Rasengan sealed them completely. Before fading away, Hashirama Senju apologized to Hiruzen Sarutobi and the young Naruto, saying he had caused them trouble. Tobirama Senju looked at him one last time and muttered, "That was my shadow clone," before his soul returned to rest. Now, only Orochimaru remained inside the barrier. Forming a massive Rasen Shuriken with a chakra hand, Naruto prepared to finish the fight. The moment Orochimaru saw it, his expression sharpened. Instinct screamed danger. Without thinking, he tried to retreat, but Naruto calmly stated that escape was no longer an option. The Rasen Shuriken was hurled forward. Reacting instantly, Orochimaru bit his finger and summoned the triple Rashomon, but even 3 gates were powerless against that attack. As the White Storm detonated, he sensed disaster and immediately shed his body, ejecting himself to safety. After narrowly avoiding the blast, Orochimaru laughed and praised Naruto, claiming he was even rarer than Killer Bee. His interest only grew. He was curious to see where this force of nature would eventually lead. Naruto had known all along that Orochimaru wouldn't be killed so easily. He hadn't held back, but he also hadn't gone for the kill. Deep down, he understood that resisting the Otsutsuki threat in the future would still require Orochimaru's technology. Left with no other choice, Orochimaru withdrew. With Naruto present, destroying the Leaf Village was impossible. Rather than pursue him, Naruto first escorted Hiruzen Sarutobi to the medical unit. Then, using Sage Mode, he rushed towards the battlefield where Sasuke Uchiha was fighting Gaara. He knew that even a moment's delay could cost Sasuke his life. At that point, even with Temari and Sakura support, Sasuke Uchiha was no match for Gaara in his partial Shukaku transformation. As death loomed, Sakura screamed Naruto's name and unleashed his strongest summoning. The next instant, Naruto came crashing down with a flying kick, slamming straight into Gaara's face. Having fully surrendered consciousness, Gaara allowed Shukaku to take over. But he didn't realize that Shukaku had already aligned himself with Naruto. Extending his fist, Naruto invited Shukaku to meet it. With that contact, both were pulled into the same spiritual space. Facing a stunned Gaara, Naruto spoke directly to him, breaking through the walls he had built around his heart. Their shared childhoods of isolation made it easy for them to understand one another. In the end, Naruto Uzumaki pulled Gaara out of the hell of loneliness. As his heart finally opened, Gaara began to accept Temari and Kankuro as family. Just like in the previous timeline, Naruto became his very first friend. Before parting, Naruto told him he could finally sleep peacefully at night. Shukaku would never rampage again. A faint smile appeared on Gaara's face as he left the Leaf Village with Kankuro's support. Behind them, Sasuke Uchiha and Pakun watched with quiet admiration. Even someone like that had been changed. The next day, 2 figures wearing straw hats stood atop the Leaf Village's outer wall. They were Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. Seeing the devastation of his former home, Itachi's expression subtly shifted. He couldn't help but worry about Sasuke's safety. Noticing the change, Kisame clicked his tongue and joked that Itachi was cuter when he stayed silent. Inside a shelter, Tucci glanced towards the distant wall. His eyes widened slightly as he suddenly remembered he might have left the stove on back at the shop. Meanwhile, Danzo Shimura confronted Hiruzen Sarutobi after hearing rumors that the Hokage intended to pass the title to Jiraiya. He was furious. This time, however, Hiruzen Sarutobi showed no hesitation. He stated firmly that he was still the Hokage, and such decisions were not Danzo's to make. Silenced but seething, Danzo Shimura left behind a harsh warning before slamming the door and storming out. Shortly afterward, Jiraiya arrived as well. True to form, he declined the offer outright. Just as he had in the previous timeline, he instead proposed bringing Tsunade back to the village to become the 5th Hokage. He volunteered to handle the mission himself, alongside Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi and Kisame Hoshigaki, just as they had in the previous timeline, appeared near the graveyard outside the village. Thanks to Sage Mode's heightened perception, Naruto sensed them immediately. He knew Itachi's true reason for returning, to confirm Sasuke's safety. The thought of how badly Sasuke had been tortured in the past made his chest tighten. This time, he couldn't stand by and do nothing. He chose to wait alone at the same inn where he had encountered Itachi in the previous life. After defeating Kakashi Hatake using 6 hand seals in a single second, Itachi began tracking Naruto's whereabouts. Moments later, a knock echoed through the hallway. Naruto's expression hardened instantly. The door had barely opened when Itachi blocked it with one hand and ordered him to come with them. Kisame relaxed after taking a good look, so the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was just a kid who liked wearing eyeliner. But Itachi wasn't so dismissive. Those toad-like eyes caught his attention. He warned Kisame not to underestimate their target. After all, this boy had just resisted his genjutsu completely. Kisame couldn't believe it, but strength only excited him more. Tightening his grip on Samehada, he stepped forward, planning to cripple Naruto before dragging him away. In the very next instant, a frog-style strike sent Kisame flying across the room. The speed was so overwhelming that even Itachi failed to react in time. Naruto greeted them calmly, almost casually. "So, Frog Brother and Shark Guy, you two doing okay in that little organization of yours?" The comment stunned them both. After a brief pause, Itachi demanded to know how Naruto had learned about the Akatsuki. Naturally, Naruto refused to answer. Seeing this, Itachi unbuttoned his cloak, preparing to probe deeper. Suddenly, a Chidori spear pierced straight through his chest. Hearing that Itachi was in Konoha, Sasuke had sprinted without stopping. Now, he had finally found his target. He studied his opponent closely. The 3-Tomo Sharingan, the lightning release techniques. Itachi couldn't help but acknowledge how much Sasuke had grown. Still, it wasn't enough. Not yet. His body transformed into a swarm of crows and broken branches, while his real form appeared behind Sasuke, launching a counterattack. But Sasuke instantly unleashed Chidori Stream, electricity flooding the air. Forced to retreat, Itachi leapt back, once again shaken by his brother's growth, far beyond expectations. That growth was no accident. Since his rebirth, Naruto had been guiding Sasuke from the shadows. Every technique Sasuke used was painfully familiar to Naruto from the previous life. Even so, the gap between Sasuke and Itachi remained enormous. Once Itachi became even slightly serious, Sasuke was completely suppressed. Seeing his friend pushed into a corner, Naruto moved to intervene, but Sasuke, gritting his teeth, stopped him. This was his fight. He had to kill this man with his own hands. Grabbing Sasuke's cheek, Itachi coldly stated that he had no interest in the current version of him. Then, without mercy, he forced him to relive the Uchiha massacre. 24 hours of torment in an instant. Even though Naruto knew the truth behind that night, watching Sasuke suffer firsthand ignited his anger. His mental mode activated instinctively. Barely conscious, Sasuke struggled to push himself up from the ground. He understood what Naruto was about to do and refused to allow it. "This fight is the one thing you cannot interfere with." With those words, he collapsed. Respecting his choice, Naruto withdrew from mental mode. At that moment, Jiraiya arrived. Recognizing the situation immediately, he summoned the toad confinement technique, trapping everyone inside. Seeing Jiraiya, Itachi subtly revealed that the Akatsuki had come for Naruto. Then, grabbing Kisame, he used Amaterasu to escape the toad's hold. Jiraiya was stunned. He had never imagined anyone could escape that technique. Naruto explained calmly. The black flames were Amaterasu, a fire that burns everything endlessly. It must never be touched. Hearing this, Jiraiya quickly sealed the black flames into a scroll. Outside, Itachi deactivated his Sharingan. Knowing that someone strong was protecting Sasuke, he finally felt at ease. After cleaning up the battlefield, Naruto made a decision. He would take Sasuke with him to find Tsunade. He wanted Sasuke to grow stronger, faster. Never again did he want to see that helpless, broken expression on his friend's face. With memories from the previous life guiding them, they quickly located Tsunade at a tavern. After a brief conversation, she decided to teach Naruto a lesson. With just one finger, he accepted eagerly. Naruto immediately activated Sage Mode and casually told her that she should probably use her full strength. Tsunade was slightly taken aback. So this is the power of someone who has mastered the Nine Tails? She dropped her earlier arrogance and leapt forward first, bringing down a devastating kick that smashed into the ground. The surrounding earth instantly caved in, but when the dust cleared, Naruto was still standing in the same spot. Smiling, he said that her strength hadn't changed much at all. Tsunade's eyes sharpened. Gathering her chakra again, she threw a monstrous punch. Naruto crossed his arms and blocked it head-on, his feet scraping across the ground as he was pushed back dozens of meters. Clicking her tongue, Tsunade pulled back her fist and declared that the fight would end there. Confused, she asked him why. Despite already being so powerful, he was still so obsessed with the title of Hokage. With a firm gaze, Naruto replied, "Because becoming Hokage is my dream. Past, present, or future, it's never changed." Hearing this, Tsunade lost her composure for a moment. Memories of her former lover and her younger brother surfaced in her mind. In the end, she agreed to go with Naruto to the inn, where she treated Sasuke, who had been poisoned by the Moon Shadow poison. As for returning to the village to become Hokage, she said she still needed time to think. After waking up and learning that Naruto now possessed power capable of rivaling 3 top-tier shinobi, Sasuke clenched his teeth. Recalling how he had been completely overwhelmed earlier, frustration surged through him. Meanwhile, Naruto once again entered the Nine Tails seal space. Ever since Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze began staying there, he would come whenever he had time to reunite with them. Little by little, he told them about the future. After hearing everything, Kushina excitedly said she wanted to see her adorable grandchildren and even suggested that Naruto hurry up and bring Hinata Hyuga home. Naruto could only respond helplessly. Hinata in this timeline was still just 12 years old. Kurama could only watch their daily family banter in silence. At that moment, Minato stepped up beside Kurama, his expression grave. After learning that Kurama had once burned away his own life force in the future to save Naruto, Minato bowed deeply to him in thanks. He then asked what plans there were for dealing with the Akatsuki clan. Kurama snorted. He hadn't expected the usually optimistic Minato and Kushina to worry about that clan at all. Stopping the chakra he was gathering, he told Minato that Naruto would definitely have the power to change that future this time. Hearing this, Minato smiled with relief. It seemed that Kurama was even more dependable than he was as a father. Elsewhere, by a wall along a narrow side street, Tsunade rejected Orochimaru's request to heal his body and decided to deal with him personally. Through Sage Mode, Naruto sensed what was happening and immediately rushed to support her. After all, Tsunade had yet to overcome her fear of blood. On the battlefield, Kabuto Yakushi slit his own palm and used his blood-based technique to control Tsunade, then fired kunai at her. Fortunately, Naruto's chakra arms blocked most of the attacks. With another chakra arm, he formed a Rasengan and slammed it straight into Kabuto's abdomen, sending him flying hundreds of meters away. Even though Kabuto desperately healed himself with chakra, he ultimately collapsed, unable to continue fighting. Just as Naruto turned around, Orochimaru suddenly extended his neck and drove the Kusanagi sword straight through Naruto's heart. His aura instantly faded as he fell to the ground, unable to maintain even Sage Mode. Seeing the fatal wound, Sasuke nearly broke down. Having just recovered from a serious illness, and then suffering such a crushing blow, he dropped to his knees. Faintly, the 6-pointed star pattern appeared in his eyes before he lost consciousness. At the same time, Tsunade rushed toward Naruto. Her overwhelming desire to save him finally allowed her to overcome her fear of blood. Seeing that everything had gone exactly as planned, Naruto smiled and slowly stood back up. Calmly, he pulled the Kusanagi sword out of his body and told Tsunade not to worry. This kind of minor fatal injury would heal soon enough. Tsunade was instantly stunned. Shizune was so shocked that she dropped the unconscious Sasuke from her arms. It turned out that Naruto had deliberately allowed Orochimaru to pierce his vital point, both to force Sasuke to awaken his eyes and to help Tsunade overcome her fear of blood. At that moment, Orochimaru's jaw nearly hit the ground. After Naruto helped Tsunade overcome her weakness, she formed hand seals, preparing to summon Katsuyu. Realizing the situation was already lost, Orochimaru abandoned any thought of summoning Manda. His body slowly sank into the ground. Before leaving, he glanced at Sasuke, who lay unconscious on the battlefield. That fleeting glimpse of the Mangekyo Sharingan had only deepened his obsession. He praised Naruto for his strength, but claimed that Sasuke's talent surpassed even his. In the end, he said, Sasuke would surely come to his side in pursuit of power. Naruto, unusually calm, simply replied that no matter what happened, Sasuke would still be Sasuke. He then carried the unconscious Sasuke back to the inn. Tsunade frowned as she examined the curse mark on his body, sensing a chilling aura radiating from it, almost identical to Orochimaru's chakra. Smiling, Naruto said that this was actually a gift Orochimaru had left behind. It contained massive amounts of natural energy, and if used properly, Sasuke's strength would rise to an entirely new level. Hearing this, Jiraiya looked at Naruto in shock. He couldn't believe the kid actually understood what natural energy was. Just then, Sasuke suddenly opened his eyes. His body went out of control as he let out a pained scream, roaring Orochimaru's name in fury. How dare that man stab Naruto? His consciousness was still trapped in the moment when Naruto's heart had been pierced. Seeing how deeply Sasuke cared about him, Naruto was genuinely moved. Leaning close to his ear, he whispered for him to calm down, telling him everything was fine now. His voice was like a single drop of light falling into Sasuke's darkness. The black in his eyes was once again replaced by the six-pointed stars of the Mangekyo Sharingan. As the curse mark gradually receded, he peacefully slipped back into unconsciousness. Jiraiya remained silent. By now, he understood exactly why Orochimaru was so fixated on Sasuke. Those eyes were truly extraordinary. The Battle of the Three Sannin finally came to an end. Tsunade returned to the village and took office as the 5th Hokage, honoring her promise by giving the necklace to Naruto. Because of his recent outstanding performance, she solemnly announced, using her authority as Hokage, that he would be appointed as a merchant of Konohagakure. The moment Naruto heard this, it felt strangely familiar, and a bad feeling crept into his heart. Sure enough, the next second, Tsunade broke into a grin. She said that while she wanted to make such an announcement, rules were rules. He would still have to start from Genin and work his way up. Compared to fighting the Akatsuki clan, remembering his past life was somehow even more terrifying. All the way until he became Hokage, he had still been a genin, but rank didn't matter to Naruto right now. What he cared about was the path Sasuke would choose next, because in the previous timeline, this was when he defected to Orochimaru. Meanwhile, inside Orochimaru's base, the damage caused by Naruto's Rasen Shuriken forced him to perform a body replacement earlier than planned. Before doing so, however, he combined his past failure during the attack on Konoha, his research on Minato Namikaze, and recently gathered data to finally uncover the secrets of the Reaper Death Seal. Before initiating the technique, he put on the Shinigami mask and released Minato's soul from the seal. Then, he immediately completed body replacement, achieving rebirth. Minato's soul sank into the ground, returning to the Pure Land, ensuring that Orochimaru would be able to summon him in the future. Inside the seal space, Kurama and Minato both looked up in confusion. They suddenly felt an unexplainable lightness, as if something binding them had just been released. After successfully reincarnating, Orochimaru, just like before, sent the Sound Four to Konoha to seek out Sasuke. Since waking up, Sasuke had been constantly replaying the day he reunited with Naruto. Learning that Itachi Uchiha's true target was the Nine Tails inside him, he made up his mind to defeat his brother before Naruto could be taken away. No matter how strong Naruto had become, there would always be moments of weakness. This time, he would never allow Itachi to take away the person he valued most. To achieve that, he was willing to gain power by any means necessary. At that moment, the Sound Four suddenly appeared before Sasuke, mocking his frail body with malicious smiles. Slowly, he lifted his head. The six-pointed stars shimmered in his eyes. Perfect, he thought. I'll test these newly awakened eyes on you. With a single genjutsu, he instantly subdued all four of them. Grabbing one of them, he used the Sharingan to force him to reveal Orochimaru's true objective. After listening to those familiar promises about power and growth, Sasuke fell into deep thought. At last, the hesitation he'd been struggling with for days came to an end. He made up his mind, before Itachi Uchiha could capture Naruto, he would kill him. He released the genjutsu on the four and told them to wait outside the village. He would go with them willingly. Before leaving, Sasuke stood at a high vantage point, gazing out over his homeland. Konoha was vast, yet there was no longer a place for the Uchiha to belong. Gathering up his final attachment, he defected from the village alongside the Sound Four. Meanwhile, Naruto had already sensed everything through Sage Mode. With his current strength, bringing Sasuke back would have been effortless. But having lived through one lifetime already, he chose this time to respect Sasuke's decision. Still, there were things he needed to confirm with him first. He immediately chased after them from behind. The traps set along the road by Kidomaru alerted the Sound Four to Naruto's pursuit, and they accelerated. By the time Naruto caught up, Sasuke had already been taken away by Kimimaro. Without hesitation, Naruto unleashed a single Rasengan barrage, striking all four at once. They activated their cursed seal forms immediately, but even so, they collapsed to the ground, barely clinging to life. As Jirobo lay gravely injured, the conflicting powers within his body rotated, restoring him to full strength. Naruto calmly advised them to stop resisting. He had no intention of killing them, but the Sound Four were fanatically loyal to Orochimaru. Using their last remaining chakra, they activated a forbidden space-time technique. In an instant, Naruto's soul and those of the Sound Four were torn from their bodies and manifested inside a sealed barrier somewhere else. Seeing their plan succeed, the four revealed triumphant smiles. This barrier couldn't be broken from the inside. Even if Naruto defeated them, he would be trapped here until his soul, separated from his body for too long, eventually perished. Hearing this, Naruto couldn't help but laugh. There are several suns living inside me. Suddenly, two hands rested on his shoulders. Standing behind him were Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, who normally resided within Naruto. Because of the nature of the technique, their souls had also been manifested inside the barrier. The Sound Four stared in disbelief. How could shinobi of this level appear here? Outside the barrier, Kurama was controlling Naruto's body. Using his ability to sense malice, he quickly pinpointed the barrier's exact location. Clicking his tongue, he complained that Naruto had been far too careless, but admitted it had been a while since he'd enjoyed breathing fresh air. Inside the barrier, Minato ended the fight instantly with Flying Thunder God Rasengan combo, knocking down all four. Watching this, Naruto couldn't help but shout that his dad was incredible. At that moment, Kurama shattered the barrier from the outside. The Sound Four dissolved into particles of light and vanished. Soon after, the souls of Minato, Kushina, and Naruto returned to his body, and Kurama relinquished control. Now, all that remained was to catch up to Sasuke. Moments later, Naruto caught up to Kimimaro in a grassy field. Kimimaro was no match for him, but Naruto respected his devotion to Orochimaru and fought him properly all the way to the end. Finally, Naruto caught up to Sasuke at the Valley of the End. He knew that even with Kotoa Matsukami, he couldn't force Sasuke to change. More importantly, Orochimaru was an exceptional teacher. In the previous timeline, Sasuke had trained under him for 3 years, achieving tremendous growth in both taijutsu and ninjutsu. So this time, Naruto came only to make a promise. He would give Sasuke 3 years. After 3 years, he would come for him and bring him back. Sasuke gave a faint smile, waved his hand impatiently in farewell, and turned away. Naruto watched him leave, then returned to the village alone. But after arriving back in Konoha, he suddenly sensed Sasuke's chakra once again. Combined with the current timeline, a strong sense of unease rose in his chest. Sure enough, it was another future Sasuke and Naruto Uzumaki, who had also traveled to this time. Father and son reunited with him on a village street. Overcome with emotion, Naruto called out Boruto's name, but the instant the words left his mouth, he realized something was wrong. Sure enough, the next second, Sasuke demanded to know how he could possibly know Boruto's name. Naruto panicked. Luckily, at that exact moment, Jiraiya, who was late collecting royalties, came charging past while being chased relentlessly. Seizing the opportunity, Naruto escaped the awkward situation. Watching him flee, Sasuke fell into deep thought. The more he considered it, the less it made sense. He immediately called Boruto and chased after him from behind, but Naruto was already gone. While searching, they unexpectedly ran into Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki near Konoha. Confused, Boruto asked who they were. Sasuke quietly replied that these were members of a small organization they had read about in books. Hearing this, Boruto was stunned. This was the pressure of villains straight out of Shippuden. Seeing their unusual attire, Kisame demanded that they identify themselves. Itachi, however, immediately saw through their transformation using the Sharingan. The moment he noticed Boruto's forehead protector, Kisame understood. They were ninja from Konoha. To prevent their plan from being exposed, he said coldly that they would have to put them to sleep right here. Itachi, who had been observing the man in black from the start, suddenly curled his lips into a faint smile. The truth was already hidden within that expression. Gripping Samehada, Kisame stepped forward, preparing to strike them down. Boruto, panicking, grabbed a kunai to fight back, but Itachi suddenly spoke, stopping Kisame. He told him to take a closer look at the man in black. Fighting him here would only draw more Konoha ninja. Hearing this, Kisame finally calmed down. Upon closer inspection, Sasuke appeared flawless, almost identical to an Uchiha. His left eye, in particular, seemed to emit an unfathomable power. In truth, this was all an illusion Itachi had placed on Kisame. Stepping forward, Itachi said to Sasuke, "You remind me of someone I know. He lives in Konoha. If you happen to meet him, tell him to take care of himself." Urged by Itachi, the two quickly left the area. Once again receiving Itachi's protection, Sasuke could no longer hold back his tears. No matter the era, his brother was still his brother. Pushing aside his longing for Itachi, he and Boruto soon found Naruto near a ramen shop. At the same time, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, happened to pass by. Seeing the two unfamiliar faces, he asked Naruto if he knew them. Naruto answered confidently, saying he did, and that he would personally keep an eye on them. From the start, Sasuke's attention had been fixed on Hiruzen. By all logic, in this timeline, the third Hokage should already have died. Had something changed after he defected from the village as a child? His moment of contemplation didn't go unnoticed by Jiraiya. After Jiraiya and Hiruzen left, Sasuke solemnly asked Naruto how he knew Boruto's name. Naruto's gaze suddenly became mature, almost aged. As expected, "I couldn't hide it from your eyes, Sasuke." Hearing this, Sasuke stared at him in disbelief. "Don't tell me, you too?" Without another word, Naruto used a transformation jutsu, turning into his adult self, the seventh Hokage. Boruto's jaw nearly hit the ground. Sasuke could only sigh in exasperation. The moment he saw that Hiruzen was still alive, he had already begun to suspect the truth. "So, when did you come back? You dead last." Looking at Sasuke's perfectly intact eyes, Naruto answered with certainty that he had returned far later than they had, many years later, during a battle with the Akatsuki clan. Before he could finish, Sasuke abruptly cut him off. "Don't tell me anything unnecessary. You idiot who messes with time whenever you feel like it." Naruto understood immediately. He suggested they all go to his place first. With a helpless sigh, Sasuke followed. The three arrived at Naruto's home. Since Hinata Hyuga often came by to clean, the place was far better kept than it had been in his childhood. Boruto looked around with wide-eyed curiosity. But the happiest ones of all were Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, deep within Naruto.